Hi guys, welcome back to Nico Talks Hockey. Today I wanted to do 32 predictions, bold predictions to be specific, 32 bold predictions for the upcoming 25-26 NHL season. It's right around the corner, and I want to do there's a prediction for every single team in the NHL. I didn't want to leave a team off. So yeah, I'm going to go through each one of these NHL teams, and I'm going to look at. It could be a positive prediction, and it could be a negative prediction. So you'll just have to watch the video to find out. But I want to go through alphabetical order here, and so we've got the Anaheim Ducks starting up here. But these are just before I get into the video. I wanted to kind of say where I got my inspiration for this video from. Frank Seravalli, one of the leading journalists and reporters and breaker of information in the NHL sphere. He came out with this article on Daily Face-Off a year ago, kind of predicting what would happen for this past season. And I remember, when I read that, I just loved the article so much, and I loved that idea. So I told myself that whenever I eventually I make my YouTube channel, that I want to make a video like this. So this is me finally doing that. So let's get right into it. So now these predictions, they are bold. They're not meant to be just your standard whatever. This is meant to be something that's kind of out of the ordinary. Maybe they're not the craziest things ever, but yeah, it's meant to be with some kick to it. So at number one, the Anaheim Ducks. My first bold prediction is that Lucas Dostal, their really young and really great goaltender, finishes top 3 in Vezina voting and gets a nomination. Gets a Vezina nomination. He finishes top 3. So I think the world of Lucas Dostal. I think that he's really good, and I don't see him stopping now. I think that the train is just starting on the Lucas Dostal hype train, and I'm fully on board. So yeah, I predict big things of not only the Ducks, not only Dostal, but also the Ducks this season. He's gonna be great. Number 2, moving on to the Boston Bruins. I believe that the Bruins. I said this already in a recent video. Kind of talking about the season standings and what I predict this season. But I think Bruins finish near the bottom of the standings this year, and I think they finish last in the Atlantic. And I think because of that, Don Sweeney loses his job. I think the GM of the Bruins is out after the end of the season. I think that honestly, it's probably good for the Bruins to just be bad for just a couple years, so they can stockpile some prospects and refill their cupboard a bit. James Higgins, I don't think is enough, right? So if they can go for McKenna or just someone who's really good at the end of this draft, then that's great. But since the Bruins hold themselves to such a high standard, 2 seasons in a row of missing playoffs, I don't think will cut it. And I think that Don Sweeney is already on the hot seat for a while now. I think he loses his job. Moving on to number 3, the Buffalo Sabres. I think that both Kevin Adams, in the same vein of losing jobs because of no success, I think both Kevin Adams and Lindy Ruff, the coach and the GM, lose their jobs when the Sabres fail to make the playoffs for the 15th year in a row. Yeah, I mean, I've already stated that I think the Sabres will miss the playoffs. I just think that 15 years in a row is going to be it. I know that Kevin Adams is close to the owner there and in Buffalo, but Lindy Ruff was his guy. So, and Kevin Adams was the owner's guy. I think they both go. And I don't know what happens in Buffalo after that. I don't know if they make better hirings. Maybe Jarmo Kekalainen becomes the GM in Buffalo. He was hired recently as kind of a special advisor or something. So maybe they're kind of prepping him for that role if Kevin Adams fails here. Going on to the Calgary Flames, my 4th prediction is that Flames trade not just Rasmus Andersson. That's a given. That wouldn't be a bold prediction. And they trade Rasmus Andersson and Nazem Kadri because they will be well out of the playoff race by, I'm predicting, about March. I think they'll be 10 points or more out, and they will see that as yep, no, it's time to trade and tank for McKenna as hard as we can for the last 2 months. I think they'll also not be doing so great in the standings because I expect a bit of a sophomore slump from Dustin Wolf. I think Wolf's great. I want to preface that I think Wolf is going to be one of the best goaltenders of his generation. But you can have a down year, and it's pretty easy to have a down year, in the sophomore year. It tends to be that kind of way. So, yeah, that will probably help the Flames be a little worse than they otherwise would be if they had another great season from Wolf. Moving to number 5, the Carolina Hurricanes. I think that Alexander Nikishin gets a Calder nomination. I think that he's in the final 3, the finalists for the Calder Trophy, Best Rookie of the Year. I think very, very highly of Nikishin. I think when I did my prospect video of all of the best prospects in the game today, he was top 10. I forget exactly where I placed him. He might have been like 6th or something. I think very, very highly of him. I think he's going to be just a great all-around defenseman who can, he's offensive, he's defensive. He's going to be great. And he's like kind of the future there on the blue line for Carolina. Moving on to number 6, my Chicago Blackhawks prediction. My bold prediction, it starts out, I've got a little bit here. So it starts out with Sam Rinzel not just getting a Calder nomination, finishing as one of the 3 finalists. I actually have him winning it. The 3 finalists, in my opinion, I think will be Sam Rinzel, Alexander Nikishin, and Ivan Demidov. And I know a lot of people have Demidov winning it, but I think that people aren't prepared yet for how good Sam Rinzel will be. He's just so ready. Frank Seravalli, I mentioned him earlier. He said at one point late last season, he said that he predicts when Sam Rinzel is in his rookie season, he will have a Brock Faber-like presence that he'll bring immediately to the Blackhawks, this team. So I really think that Rinzel, I believe that, and I agree with that. So I think Rinzel will win the Calder and be the best rookie of this year. And I think the Blackhawks, this is more along the boldness of this prediction, is that I think the Blackhawks, although they will not make playoffs, I think they finished with like 80 points this season. I kind of already said it in my Western Conference standings predictions video, but I think they finished like 24th or 25th in the league, kind of around there in the standings. A lot of people are thinking that maybe they finished like last or bottom 3 again. I just don't think that's going to be the case. I think that the growth of these young players will take them to take them to the next step, take them to the next level. And also, I think it will help that Connor Bedard, I'm also predicting, has an above point per game season. I think he puts up like 90 points. So yeah, lots of stuff that has to go right, obviously, but that's my bold prediction for my Chicago Blackhawks. Moving on to the Colorado Avalanche, the number 7 prediction of all these bold predictions I'm making. Colorado Avalanche, I think, win the Central Division, and I think they get an extension done also with Martin Necas. That's something I know, like they're a little, Avalanche fans are kind of a little worried about, because obviously they traded Rantanen for this guy. And I think that Avalanche fans understand that he's no Mikko Rantanen, but also they need to get, the guy they got, the biggest player they got back in that trade was Necas. So you want to get an extension done with him. And I think that Necas, although I know that he wants to get paid big time, I think he understands that where are you going to go that's better than the Avalanche? Like, this is one of the best organizations in the league today, and it's one of the best places to win a cup. And I'm sure he's going to get paid. Like, maybe he doesn't get paid exactly what he wants, but he's still going to get paid. He's very good. So that's my prediction for the Avalanche and Necas. Moving on to number 8. This is the Columbus Blue Jackets prediction. This is what I wrote here: true breakout performances from both Adam Fantilli and Jet Greaves, with what I predict for Fantilli being a point per game season, I think lead the Blue Jackets to a playoff spot. I think they make it this time. I know they came up short last season, but I truly do think that they will make the playoffs this time in a wild card spot, but still, that's making it. So yeah, I think that Jet Greaves will take over full time as the Blue Jackets goaltender, take over from Merzlikins. I know they just got that one goalie from Philadelphia that's escaping my brain right now, his name. But that's more like a lottery ticket kind of thing. It's like, if one of them goes down, maybe that he comes up from the AHL or something, or he's the third goalie. So I think Jet Greaves is going to be the main goalie, and Adam Fantilli I'm expecting to fully show everyone around the league. He's going to become a household name, and I think that he will show everyone around the league that he is a number 1 center. And he's just so young, right? So he's only like 20. So it's awesome for them if this is what happens. Moving on to Dallas, my bold prediction for the Dallas Stars is that they got a new coach, right? They got a new coach in Glenn Galutzin, I think is his name. He was an assistant coach in Edmonton. I think the new coach in Dallas causes some temporary struggles early this season. So, the first 10, 20 games, I think the Dallas Stars struggle. Maybe they dip below 500 the first 20 or so games of this season. And so that doesn't set them up for a great season. I think they still make the playoffs. Still, I really do think so. But I think they end up finishing the last final wild card spot in the West. So I still think they'll make it. And once they make it, they're the Dallas Stars. They can definitely go far, and maybe this is the year. But I think that because of the new coach, I predict some kind of early struggle in the season for them, and that causes their entire regular season to be, I'd say, a little bit more entertaining. There's nothing for sure about them where they finish, so that'll be entertaining to watch. Moving on to number 10, about a third of the way through here. I think for the Red Wings, my bold prediction for the Red Wings is not a good one, unfortunately. I think Steve Yzerman, Stevie Y, is fired after the Red Wings fail to make the playoffs once again. I think they get close. I think that we get within 5 or 6 points. But I'd love to be proven wrong. I really would. I know that I'm a Blackhawks fan, but I root for the Red Wings to make the playoffs because there's a lot of players I love on that team. Patrick Kane, obviously, Alex DeBrincat, obviously, but I've said before that how much I love Lucas Raymond. Moritz Seider, I'm a fan of. Simone Edvinsson's going to be awesome. Really, I've been a fan of Larkin for a while now. I think he's one of the most underrated players. I don't think people know exactly how good Larkin is. That being said, I just don't know if they can get it done in such a good Atlantic division. So, sadly, I think Steve Yzerman gets the boot. Moving on to the Edmonton Oilers bold prediction. For the third year in a row, the Edmonton Oilers make the Stanley Cup Finals, with the third time being the charm, and they win it all, ending Canada's Stanley Cup drought. Now, full disclosure, I want this to happen. I really want this to happen because not only do I want Canada to see the Stanley Cup again, but, McDavid and Draisaitl get their cup, and I can finally stop worrying about that. So, that would be really, really, really cool to see. I think that would be so, poetic and cinematic, and it'd be really, really cool to see. That's what I predict for the Edmonton Oilers, my bold prediction. That's my Stanley Cup pick. I reserve the right to change it come later in the season. I'd say maybe come Christmas. I'll see if I'll update that prediction or not. Moving on to number 12, this is the Panthers prediction. My bold prediction for the Panthers is that Matthew Tkachuk struggles in his return to the ice, which is right now said to be sometime in January, is when he will come back from his injury. Maybe it's a little later, but we'll see. Maybe it's earlier, who knows? I believe that because Tkachuk will struggle, and he's one of their best players, if not their best, I think the Panthers get to playoffs easily. I think I actually have them finishing second in their division, but I think the Panthers are eliminated in the first round of the playoffs. I have them getting eliminated to the Montreal Canadiens, actually. And I think that ends their bid for the three-peat. So, I think that the Panthers do not get the three-peat done. I mean, it's so hard to do. It's so hard to do a back-to-back, and they've already done that. It's so hard to ask of all these, their bodies are so tired. Their bodies are so beaten up. It's so much hockey to play. And if you're, what I'm predicting is if Matthew Tkachuk, one of their superstars, is banged up, and even if he does come back I just think that he won't be 100%, and I think that they will get out early this time in the playoffs. Moving on to number 13, this is the LA Kings. What's my bold prediction for the LA Kings? Well, it's not a good one either. I think the Kings are much worse defensively this season than in recent years due to the third pairing of Cody Ceci and Brian Dumoulin, as well as Father Time finally catching up to Drew Doughty. I think this is the season where we see a steep drop-off from him, along with also, he's probably going to miss some time because he always misses some time, with some injuries. So, and I think that they are going to miss the playoffs in what is potentially going to be Andrzej Kopitar's final season. That's very sad, and if that happens, I will be sad for them. But also, I think that they stabbed a knife in themselves when they hired Ken Holland to be their GM, because you had to know his track record that he's not a good GM, and he then goes and signs Cody Ceci and Dumoulin, and then Corey Perry, who's now going to be out for 6 to 8 weeks. It's just not good. It's not good. Another negative prediction. This is one is for the Minnesota Wild. I'm so sorry, Wild fans, if you guys are watching. But there's lots of Kirill Kaprizov chatter, right? And that must suck. I absolutely empathize with you guys there. But my prediction here for the Wild this season is that Kirill Kaprizov forces the Wild's hand by refusing to sign a contract extension with them, and they trade him by the deadline. They end up having a poor season, which I also think factors into the decision for Kirill to not want to stay there. Look, I don't really get why Kirill would want to leave. They're going to pay him a ton, and their future is bright. I mean, it's the state of hockey. It would be a great place to be. But at this time, we don't know exactly why he would turn down such a contract, 8 years, 16 mil per. That's a great extension. I don't know if he wants to just go shorter term so he can maximize the dollars. Don't even know if that's even the best bet. Maybe he just wants to be somewhere else. I don't really know. But that's my prediction. I think he leaves. And we see like a Mikko Rantanen type of trade happen closer to the deadline, where it's like, someone of that caliber, someone that elite, even better. I would say Kaprizov is even better than Rantanen. I don't know where he goes yet. But that's my prediction for the Minnesota Wild this season. Very bold. At number 15, my Montreal Canadiens bold prediction is the Canadiens finish top 3 in the division, and that's helped by rookie Demidov, who ends up getting a Calder finalist nomination, as well as Sam Montembeault, I think, having a great season, who will end up backing up Jordan Binnington at the Olympics for Team Canada. So I think Binnington, I think just like the Four Nations tournament, I think he'll get the starting nod, but I think Montembeault will be the backup, and he could, if Binnington falters, it could go to Montembeault real quick. So yeah, Canadians, this is a much more positive prediction. I think they have a very nice season here and progress even more as a team. At number 16, we're back at the negative. The Nashville Predators' woes continue. This is my Predators prediction. I think their woes continue with the team finishing as the worst team in the West, the Western Conference, forcing Barry Trotz to enter the team into a rebuild, like an official rebuild. And he starts maybe trying to trade off those veteran guys who have big contracts. Maybe he finds someone, if they can retain, I know it's just the beginning of their contracts, but if he can find someone to take on Stamkos for most of those, for most of the money, or Marchessault, Brady Shea, maybe they trade Saros. It's crazy they trade Askarov now, but yeah, I've talked about Barry Trotz before. I don't think he's a very good GM. Probably one of the worst in the league right now, just because I don't think he just knows what he's doing. I think that he was a great coach. I just don't think he's had enough time on the job. Maybe he learns how to be a better GM along the way. But I don't think he gets fired or anything like that anytime soon. But yeah, I think the Predators have a really rough season, and it forces all of us to rethink how we see the Predators. I think they'll be a basement team for years to come. Which I think, again, I've said this before, but I think that's probably best for them as a organization. They need blue chip prospects in order to turn this team truly around. At number 17, we're only halfway through. This is going to be a long video. I do apologize, but I hope you're enjoying it so far. At number 17 is the Devils' prediction. I think that Jack Hughes has a fully healthy season, 82 games played, and puts up 100-plus points. He's got 99 points before, never got 100. He's unbelievable. I think 100 points is modest. I think that he'll put up like 110 points. So, 115 if he plays a full 82. So yeah, I think the world Jack Hughes, when healthy, is a top 10 player in the NHL, and that's exactly what the Devils need, for the Devils to progress as a team and maybe make some real noise in the playoffs. At number 18, the New York Islanders. I think they finished bottom 3 in the league standings. True bad season, like 60 points in the standings. I think Patrick Waugh is fired at least at worst at the end of the season, but I think he could be fired, like by Christmas. I could absolutely see that. Along with them getting, but they get a very good prospect at the end of in the 2026 draft. I think that they'll have a really good shot at McKenna, and any other really elite prospect waiting for them in this in the next draft. Moving on to number 19, we've got the Pittsburgh Penguins, and this is another one. Oh, sorry, we don't have the Penguins. I saw Mike Sullivan's name. I thought Penguins. We got the New York Rangers here. The New York Rangers, I think that Mike Sullivan, as the new head coach in New York, helps the Rangers tremendously, and they finish second in the Metro Division, along with winning at least one playoff round. Not going to be too much more bold after that, but yeah. I think that Adam Fox ends up winning the Norris Trophy as the best defenseman in the league. Call me crazy, but I think that people have been severely underrating Fox because of a less than par season for him this past season. So yeah, I think he shows everyone who the real Adam Fox is, and the Rangers have a really good season. I'm predicting, yeah, lots of bounce backs, and I'm not saying they win the cup, but a very good regular season at the very least. Moving on to number 20, we're about 2/3 of the way here through this. The Ottawa Senators, I think they win the Atlantic Division. The people who watch the standings predictions for the West and the East, you'll know that I've already said this, but I think they win the Atlantic Division. I think that's bold, right? I think that's bold. I think a lot of people wouldn't have them winning it all. They'd probably have maybe the Panthers, the Lightning are still good. But so yeah, I think that qualifies as bold, and I think that this is an extra little bold prediction for the Senators. I think that Linus Ullmark wins the Vezina Trophy as the best goaltender in the league this season. I think that he's done it before, so he's got the track record, and he just needs another. He needs the Senators to be good for him as well as him being obviously at the top of his game, and I think that's what's going to happen. I think it's going to be a crazy shock to a lot of people, and yeah, I'm very high on the Senators this season. Moving on to number 21, Philadelphia Flyers. I think they have another poor season, but the top line of Michkov, Zegras, and Konechny, I think they have a fantastic season. I think Michkov gets 70 plus points, and Konechny gets like 90 plus points. Nothing too much over 90, but like that's my prediction. I think that the Flyers, they missed playoffs. I think I have them finishing like 6th in the division, but definitely bottom 10 in the league. Maybe like 5th, 6th worst, because I think the teams at the bottom of the Metro are all going to be like the bottom of the league, like that bad. But I think it's okay, because they do need another blue chip prospect, and since it's such a good draft coming up, that it'll be fine. That's what they need. Along with their young guys progressing, you kind of can't ask for better. So I think Zegras, I said Michkov and Konechny, but I think Zegras perfectly, complements being in the center of both Michkov and Konechny, and he also bounces back. Moving to number 22, this is the Penguins this time. Another, you probably already heard me say this before, but I do think that they finished dead last in the standings, 32 out of 32. And I think they end up winning the draft lottery. I think they win the draft lottery and draft future superstar Gavin McKenna. I think it makes too much narrative sense. I'm not saying it's rigged. I'm not. I'm just saying that, I think that it's written in the stars already that Crosby will pass the baton to McKenna as he's going. Kind of like, Patrick Kane and Jonathan Toews passed the baton to Bedard. So yeah, I have the Penguins being the worst team, having the best shot at McKenna, and getting the ability to draft him, which they will. At number 23, it's the San Jose Sharks time. I think that Celebrini has a minor sophomore slump year. I don't think it's that crazy, but I think he puts up like 60 points, a little bit less than last season, and no real progression. It's more of a sophomore slump. Lots of young players have them. However, I do think that Will Smith breaks out and puts up 60 plus points. I think that him centering that second line, I think he'll be awesome. And even though I think Celebrini will take just a little minor step back, I think that Will Smith truly breaks out. And I don't have the Sharks. I already said this in another video, but I don't have the Sharks finishing last in the league. I have them finishing last in the Pacific. I do, but I have them finishing like 3rd or 4th worst. So a minor step up. That's some progression. So yeah, I'm sure they'll take it. Moving on to number 24, this is the Seattle Kraken, and this one is a good one for them. I have Shane Wright, although I don't think the Kraken make the playoffs. That's not my bold prediction. My bold prediction is that Shane Wright puts up 60-plus points while also being excellent defensively and proves that he will be the number one center in Seattle, at least until Berkeley Catton or Jake O'Brien show up. I think that he will show everyone that why he was so so highly thought of before when he was drafted. He ended up going fourth, obviously, to Seattle. But it was it was kind of like he didn't follow maybe the same trajectory that some other huge prospects and highly touted prospects follow, which is they boom really early on. I think just needed some time to get there. But I believe in Shane Wright, and I think that he has an awesome season and kind of cements himself as ahead of Beniers even in terms of the center depth chart. Moving to number 25, we've got the St. Louis Blues. I think they're young guns on offense, which that includes Snuggerud, Holloway, and Neighbors. I think they all put up 40-plus points, and they show that St. Louis's future is very promising. I think in my predictions I had that St. Louis was just missing playoffs. I'll maintain that, but I think that these young guns, all the people I just mentioned, like Jimmy Snuggerud, Dylan Holloway, and Jake Neighbors, I think very, very highly of them, and they could all have really good seasons. It just depends on the line deployment and how Jim Montgomery uses them and deploys them. Moving to number 26, the Tampa Bay Lightning. I have them narrowly missing the playoffs. I just saw a prediction today by, I don't know if it was it the hockey guy? Did he put him like first? I think did he put the Tampa Bay Lightning like first? I don't think he put him first, but I think he put them second in the Atlantic Division, and I was like, oh geez, like I disagree with that. Not like nothing against him. It was more like it kind of was like a reminder to me that maybe this is a bold prediction, that maybe it's not. Now everyone agrees that the Lightning will have maybe a bit of a drop-off, which is what I believe they'll have. I think they just missed playoffs. I don't think it's like some crazy tanking season or anything like that. They're very good, but I think that they just miss it. It's so competitive there in that Atlantic Division, and they're young. Their core is getting older. I think Hedman shows even more his age this season, and if Vasilevsky can't be like true Vasilevsky, if he has just a little bit of regression, it could be bad for Tampa. So I have them just narrowly missing playoffs for the first time since the 2016-17 season. And John Cooper's future as head coach in Tampa is uncertain. I'm not saying he goes, but there could be a change in direction by Julien BriseBois and company. Moving to number 27, only a few left here. The Leafs, the Toronto Maple Leafs. I think they've regressed in the regular season. And they're finishing in the final wildcard spot in the East. However, they improved dramatically in the playoffs, going on a run all the way to the Stanley Cup Finals. This may be my boldest take yet. I'm open to the comments saying that I'm crazy for this take because the Leafs don't ever prove anything, right? But I think that their identity and their DNA as a group is changing. I really do think that. I think that Craig Berube and Brad Treliving are working every day to kind of change that identity. And with Mitch Marner gone, that becomes more possible. Mitch Marner's a great player, but he was everything that was wrong with the Leafs. He represented that perfectly, which was like great, flashy, fun to watch, but you cannot show up in the big moments. So I think that the Leafs do regress in the regular season all the way to like wildcard spot 2 in the East. They have to face the best team in the East come first playoff matchup. But I think that's okay because they're going to play more playoff ready hockey, and they will bear the fruits of their labor. Moving to number 28, the Utah Mammoth. It's a big one here. Very bold. I have them finishing second in the Central Division with a top 10 offense in the league. Very potent. Love all their players in the top 6. And I think that Andre Tourigny, because of this team that didn't make playoffs, has been kind of rebuilding or building up for a while now, and then finally breaking through and getting to second in such a tough division as the Central. I think that Andre Tourigny, their coach, wins Coach of the Year, that award, the Jack Adams. So yeah, expect big things, just like the Senators. I expect big things of the Mammoth this year, and kind of some very positive shocks around the league. At number 29, we got Vancouver. Vancouver couldn't have a worse season than last season, and in my prediction, they don't. I think they rebound back into a playoff spot on the backs of Thatcher Demko, who I think has a fully healthy season, and Elias Pettersson, the highly paid one, not the rookie Elias Pettersson. There's like 3 Petterssons in Vancouver. And I think that Elias Pettersson finds his old form again. I think he gets close to, I'd say a point per game. So, yeah, I think that Thatcher Demko and Elias Pettersson put the team on their backs, and they get the Canucks to a wildcard spot. Final 3 predictions here at number 30. This is the Vegas Golden Knights. I think that Shea Theodore gets a top 3 Norris vote. I think like Norris nomination, like a finalist thing. I think he finishes top final 3 in Norris votes, and that the Golden Knights will win the Pacific Division. Theodore's going to be passed with so much more now because of Alex Pietrangelo missing the entire season, probably done for his career. And I think Theodore, as long as he can stay healthy, it is a bit of an if, right? He's had some injury history in the past, but if he can stay healthy, he will get even more responsibility, and he will show everyone that he's one of the smartest defenders in the entire league. We're on number 31, second to last prediction here. My bold prediction for the Capitals is that the Capitals regress hard. I think everyone can agree that they overperformed last season. They were the best team in the East, and that just I don't think that is something they can repeat. I'm not saying that going forward, they're not going to be a team that stays competitive, but I think they narrowly miss it, kind of like the Lightning. They're one of the last teams to just miss the playoffs here in the 25 and 26 season. I think also part of them regressing is that Father Time and a lack of true incentive finally catches up to Alex Ovechkin. I think that he only I'd say max is like 20 goals, I'd say, for Ovi. And I know, like in a couple months' time, I may look really stupid for this prediction. I could absolutely see Ovi continuing to prove all of his doubters wrong. But I just think that now that he's hit the mark, I don't think it's too crazy for me to say that there's less of an incentive for him to put up these crazy goal totals. So yeah, I think that if it is also Ovi's last year in the NHL, that would really suck if they end up missing the playoffs in his last year. So, but that is what I predict to happen. And then my last prediction, this is my final prediction, my last bold prediction, is the Winnipeg Jets. I have Jonathan Toews sticking as second line center in Winnipeg, and he puts up like 50 points. I think that's kind of bold because he's been out of hockey for like 3 years. What was it? It's been 2 years. It's been 2 years he's been fully away from hockey. It's not quite the Landeskog treatment, but yeah, I think that Jonathan Toews, I think whatever he's done, I think he's confident enough that at least it looks to me that he'll be ready for this season and he'll be fully ready. We know he's great defensively, so that's why I think he'll stick as like a second line center, and having some good line mates around him will allow the points to come as well. So yeah, Toews, a little bit of a positive prediction there for the Winnipeg Jets as the final bold prediction of this video. Thank you so much for watching. I really, really appreciate it. It's a long one, so if you stuck through all the way, I appreciate it even more. If you liked it, if you would consider liking and subscribing, that would mean so much to me. And I will see you guys in the next video.